In the opening scene, Jimmy Logan shares a moment with his daughter Sadie, explaining the lyrics of his favorite song, Take Me Home by John Denver. For Jimmy, the song holds deep cultural significance. Formerly a football player who lost a leg in high school, Jimmy now works in construction at the Charlotte Motor Speedway tunnels. Despite his strong bond with Sadie, he only sees her twice a week as she lives with her mother, Bobby, who has remarried a wealthy man named Moody. Jimmy's world is rocked when his boss, Cal, fires him after an HR rep notices his limp and deems him a potential liability due to his past football injury. Feeling down, Jimmy goes to his sister Mellie's salon, where she's preparing Sadie for a beauty pageant. However, Jimmy arrives on the wrong day, missing Sadie's performance. Jimmy goes to talk with his ex-wife, Bobby, who is visibly upset about what happened. Despite Bobby's frustration, Sadie displays a remarkable level of forgiveness. However, the mood turns somber when Bobby reveals her and her new husband Moody's plan to relocate to Lynchburg with Sadie and their 2 other sons. This news hits Jimmy hard, realizing it would make visiting Sadie more difficult. Determined to fight back, he tells Bobby he'll hire a lawyer, though the weight of his financial situation hits him hard. He knows he lacks the funds needed for a decent legal defense, intensifying the gravity of the situation. Later that night, seeking refuge and maybe a bit of commiseration, Jimmy heads to his brother Clyde's bar. Clyde, a war vet adjusting to life with a prosthetic arm after losing his arm in Iraq, lends a sympathetic ear as the 2 brothers reflect on their family misfortunes. The atmosphere is disrupted by the arrival of Max, accompanied by his cronies. Clyde impresses Max by serving them without his prosthetic, but Max's snide remarks about Clyde's disability provoke Jimmy into attacking Max and his companions. Amidst the chaos, Clyde slips outside and hurls a Molotov cocktail at Max's truck. Jimmy quickly extinguishes the fire and signals to Clyde with a shout of cauliflower, a nostalgic nod to their childhood code word for mischief. The following morning, over breakfast, Clyde queries Jimmy about the significance of their childhood code word. Jimmy unveils his audacious plan, robbing the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Despite Clyde's initial hesitance, Jimmy delves into the intricate details of their target. During his time working in the tunnels, he stumbled upon the highly secured money storage system, utilizing pneumatic tubes to transport vast sums to a genuine bank vault. To execute the heist flawlessly, they require the expertise of Joe Bang, a seasoned safecracker currently behind bars. The brothers pay a visit to Joe in prison, laying out their elaborate scheme. Initially skeptical, Joe chuckles at the absurdity of pulling off a heist from inside a jail cell. However, Jimmy and Clyde assure him they can orchestrate his temporary release without raising suspicion. Joe consents under the condition that his less-than-brilliant younger brothers, Fish and Sam, be included in the operation. With their crew assembled, the Logan brothers rendezvous with the Bang brothers at the Easter Fair, sealing their alliance for the heist. Furthermore, Jimmy and Clyde enlist the help of their sister, Mellie, in their daring endeavor. As the initial phase of their plan unfolds, Clyde engineers his own arrest by careening a car through a shop window, netting himself a 90-day sentence. Inside prison walls, Joe and Clyde join forces, enlisting the help of fellow inmates to facilitate their escape. Meanwhile, outside, Jimmy and his sister meticulously monitor the prison's delivery van, pinpointing its departure schedule to perfection. Simultaneously, Sam and Fish infiltrate the Speedway's tube system, deploying painted cockroaches to map out the routes leading to the genuine bank vault. During one of his covert operations, Jimmy encounters Sylvia, a former high school classmate who now works as a healthcare worker. Concerned about an injury on Jimmy's forehead, Sylvia tends to him in her van, administering a tetanus shot free of charge. Jimmy, currently jobless and strapped for cash, is surprised by Sylvia's altruism. She reveals that her organization operates on donations from affluent benefactors. The following day, Jimmy returns to his former workplace under the guise of retrieving personal belongings. Seizing the opportunity, he sneaks into his ex-boss's office and pilfers a blueprint of the Speedway. In a twist of fate, he crosses paths with his remorseful boss, who expresses regret over terminating Jimmy's employment. Jimmy deftly shifts the conversation, subtly probing for updates on the ongoing construction beneath the Speedway. His former boss unwittingly reveals that the project is progressing faster than anticipated, throwing a wrench into Jimmy's meticulously crafted plan. With the timeline accelerated, the heist must now be executed a week earlier, coinciding with the highly anticipated Coca-Cola 600, the busiest race of the season. Despite the increased difficulty, Jimmy refuses to abandon the mission, rallying his team to adapt to the new circumstances. As race day dawns, the heist commences. During lunchtime, Joe feigns illness, causing a commotion in the canteen as he pretends to vomit. Capitalizing on the distraction, he's swiftly whisked away to the prison infirmary for rest. Seizing the opportunity, Joe requests a bathroom break, but Clyde conveniently intervenes, escorting him. Meanwhile, inside the dining hall, Joe's fellow inmate, Naaman, instigates a brawl, igniting a full-blown riot amongst the prisoners. In the midst of the prison riot, all exits are sealed by the warden, trapping inmates and staff alike. However, Joe and Clyde exploit a secret passage in the restroom, slipping away unnoticed. Concealed beneath the delivery truck amid crates, they slip out undetected as the vehicle leaves the prison compound. At a strategic gas station stop, they disembark and rendezvous with Mellie, who provides transportation to the speedway. Meanwhile, the Bang brothers engineer a distraction by sabotaging a cell tower at the speedway, disrupting communications, and disabling credit card machines. This forces vendors to revert to cash transactions, causing a surge in cash flow. With employees directed to channel the cash into the vault via pneumatic tubes, the stage is set for the heist. Jimmy, Clyde, and Joe descend to the underground pipes where the money flows, intending to utilize one of Joe's improvised bombs to breach the system. However, confusion arises when Joe reveals that he incorporated gummy bears into the bomb's composition. Pausing the heist, Joe takes a moment to provide his brothers with an impromptu chemistry lesson, explaining how a specific ingredient in the gummies interacts explosively with the other components. After loading the container with the bomb into the pipe, their plan takes an unexpected turn when it unexpectedly rebounds, striking Clyde in the chest. Fortunately, the bomb remains inert due to Joe's over-tightening of the bag. Realizing the error, Joe hastily loosens the bag, but it detonates as it's sent back through the pipe, creating a chaotic and explosive climax to their heist attempt. As smoke billows from the other pneumatic tubes, vendors quickly sound the alarm, alerting authorities. 2 officers are dispatched to investigate the basement vault. Meanwhile, the heist team improvises, connecting the tube to a powerful vacuum pump and swiftly vacuuming cash into garbage bags. Joe accidentally sucks up Clyde's prosthetic arm, sparking his paranoia. Frantically searching for his limb, Clyde fears implication in the robbery. Jimmy reassures him, promising to retrieve his arm. After filling numerous bags with cash, Sam and Fish load them onto a baggage vehicle, aiming for Jimmy's truck. However, they hit a snag when the gate fails to open, risking exposure. In the nick of time, Jimmy arrives and assists them in opening the gate, facilitating their escape. Simultaneously, 2 officers spot smoke emanating from the pneumatic tube ventilation compartment, further raising the stakes. Entering the compartment, the officers encounter Earl, one of Clyde's regular bar patrons enjoying a cigarette. Mistaking him for a worker, they instruct him to extinguish the cigarette and return to his duties. Meanwhile, as the Coca-Cola 600 race begins, Max, among the spectators, fervently supports his new driver, Dayton White. Initially performing well, Dayton soon loses control of his car, crashing into a barricade and bowing out of the race. Max's fury erupts as he berates Dayton for his costly mistake, blaming him for a substantial financial loss. Amidst the chaos, Joe and Clyde emerge from the basement, having completed their mission. Encountering Max, who recognizes Clyde from the bar, tensions escalate until Clyde swiftly delivers a punch to Max's face before making a hasty exit. Later, Jimmy successfully retrieves his brother's prosthetic arm and makes his escape from the basement. Climbing into his truck laden with ill-gotten gains, he drives away from the scene, leaving behind the aftermath of their daring heist. As the heist window closes, inmates within the prison trigger a fire alarm, prompting a response from the fire department. Seizing the opportunity, Joe and Clyde slip back into the prison under the guise of firefighters, swiftly reverting to their inmate attire and blending back into their surroundings, maintaining the fade of normalcy. In the aftermath, Mellie prepares Sadie for her beauty pageant finals. Sadie asks for her father. Mellie struggles to explain Jimmy's absence. Jimmy arrives just in time for Sadie's pageant performance, As Sadie catches sight of Jimmy in the crowd, a spontaneous burst of emotion overwhelms her, prompting her to deviate from her planned performance of Rihanna's Umbrella. Instead, she boldly launches into a heartfelt rendition of Take Me Home. Her voice fills the room with warmth and nostalgia, and to everyone's surprise, the entire audience joins in. Following the heartfelt performance, Jimmy makes a decisive choice. He abandons the truck laden with stolen cash at a gas station and anonymously tips off the police. As a result, the Charlotte Motor Speedway recovers most of its lost funds and files an insurance claim for the remainder, bringing an end to the audacious heist. The news of the discovery of the truck and cash ignites a wave of anger and frustration among the team members, who feel their painstaking efforts have been in vain. In the subsequent months, Clyde and Joe serve their time in prison before eventually being released, returning to their regular routines. During a coincidental meeting at Clyde's bar, Joe inquires about Jimmy's whereabouts, but Clyde can only offer vague information. He knows that Jimmy has moved to Lynchburg with Sadie and Bobby's family, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and unresolved tensions. Meanwhile, the FBI takes over the investigation, led by Agent Grayson. Initially focusing on the money storage system, they find no evidence of tampering. Grayson pays a visit to Max in the hospital, hoping to shed some light on the events that transpired. However, Max's recount of encountering Clyde doesn't align with the information provided by Dayton, revealing a stark discrepancy between their accounts. Agents visit the prison to question the warden, who confidently asserts the integrity of his institution. Despite suspicions lingering around Jimmy, Clyde, and Joe, Agent Grayson lacks concrete evidence to incriminate them. Over 6 months of intensive investigation, no breakthroughs emerge, leaving the case at a standstill. With the Speedway president satisfied with the recovered funds and insurance settlement, the FBI agents are compelled to close the case permanently. However, one day, while enjoying his coffee, Joe notices a shovel outside his home. Following his intuition, he digs at a marked spot and uncovers a trash bag filled with money, much to his delight. It's revealed that the amount Sam and Fish retrieved earlier was just a fraction of the Logan siblings' total haul. They had concealed additional cash in separate trash bags with trackers, intending to retrieve it from the dumping site later. Ultimately, everyone involved in the heist receives a substantial payout, including Sylvia and Naaman. In the final scene of the movie, Agent Grayson, still following up with the case, sits quietly in Clyde's bar, blending in among the patrons. She watches the reunited team with a mix of curiosity and intrigue as they relish their newfound freedom over drinks. Clyde, noticing her presence, approaches with a friendly smile, pouring her a drink. He casually remarks that he hasn't seen her around before. She offers a brief explanation, saying she's just passing through. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this.